You belong here. You're doing just fine. Stop letting your mind run so crazy. You belong here. If you didn't belong here, you wouldn't be here. You belong here.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's good? What's good? What's good?
All right. Welcome, audience. This is Uncomfortable Conversations. This is your host, JaCorei Cowan, and I got a very special guest today for the audience. I brought my friend, Corey Smith. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, dog. Hey, yo, I sure appreciate you for having me here, yo. It's an honor. Real talk.
Bro, of course, bro. So me and Corey, we met at a Friendsgiving, mutual friends place, and we got to talking, and it's like nonstop. Like I swear to God, we ended up outside. Had to be like 20 degrees, it felt like, and we was just like chopping it up. And I was like, you know what, bro? I got to get you on the podcast, bro. This guy's so smart, so insightful. Like, there's no way nobody cannot take something away from today's conversation.
You talking about me? You was outside dropping gems. I was like, no. We got to continue this for sure.
Yeah, man. I swear to God, man. That shit was great, man. All right, so just to kind of dive a little bit into who Corey is, let's just talk about you. So where you from, man?
Man, I'm from, don't nobody even know where it is. So when I say it, like, if you know where it is, I'm going to be mad surprised. So I'm from a small town in Georgia. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like middle Georgia. It's called Dublin, right? It's like 2 hours from Atlanta, about an hour from Macon. You probably won't even know it. You probably only stop there just to get gas, and then keep it going. But there ain't nothing in that town. But like just some little shopping malls. But I live out in the boondocks, like in between cities, type of thing. So I was basically raised like somewhat of a little country boy. Yeah, out there where the wolves and where all the deer was raised up at.
No, I feel you, bro. I definitely never heard of it for sure. So tell me, what was your upbringing like, man? Who was involved? Who was around? Like, what's your village?
So my village is kind of, it's not strange, but again, living out in the country, you don't really have a lot of interactions with people. So your village is kind of like all spread out. Mm. Even though Dublin was like so small of a place that everybody knew each other. So like when I went to church, everybody knew my mama, my grandma, my auntie. So they would literally be like, "Oh, can I hold your baby?" And it wouldn't be like weird. Yeah. It'd be something of the norm because everybody knew everybody. Yeah. But most of my village centered around like the people who raised me for sure to this day, like my grandma, my mama, my daddy, and then like I talk about him a lot. So in this conversation, I'm gonna mention him a lot, but it's like my brother. Shout out Phil. That's like my ace right there. Yeah, and then beautiful. Of course I had my other brother, my older brother Jonathan. Mm-hmm. Like my man's looked out for me a lot. So that's really my main village. That's really the main people that I look to for answers and that I went to with all my problems.
Okay, that's what's up, man. What's some things that you learned from? Like, what's some takeaways that you carry with you to life?
The main things that I learned from them, and mind you, like as a child, they taught me how to be more or less in a child's place, and they taught me how to like, I wouldn't necessarily say navigate the world per se, but I say they taught me how to be safe and how to keep my eyes open in the world. Like that's what my parents taught me, how to keep my eyes open in the world. They were like, "Hey man, this is this, that exists, that exists, that exists."
Like that.
And as I got older, they would notice that I was kind of like going my own way. Yeah. And you know, the Bible Belt in Georgia, you know what I'm saying? The Bible Belt, they try to kept me steered inside of a direction, but I was like, nah, why is that direction the right direction? Right. Like, I'm going to explore over here, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. So it got to a point where as I grew, I started leaning on my brother Phil a whole lot more for these answers because he was a wild card. Yeah. My guy didn't follow a set path where everybody was like, all right, when you get out of high school, next step, go to college. My guy was like, nah, that's really not for me. I'm going to get a job, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to travel, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's like, how you going to do that? I don't know. I'm going to make it happen. Yeah. So I learned a lot of you don't have to stay within the boundaries from him. And even to this day, man, it's a lot of conversations that just come out of that mindset itself.
Yeah.
I can't even go into I can, but it's like a lot of details of what I learned about them. But mostly the things that I learned from them is like why I am the way I am to this
Right.
day.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to you whenever they hear that their family tried to guide them down one path and try to set the road for them, and they find themselves kind of being rebellious towards that path. Like, why is this the only way? Like, there's a whole world for me to explore. There's so many options. There's so many things I'm passionate about and things that I want to do, and it feels like you're trying to choose those things for me. And they find themselves kind of either A, going along that path, or B, deterring from it and kind of creating their own path. So a lot of people can relate to what you just said.
You know, a crazy thing is, it was like when I was going through when I had a marriage, and when I went through the rockiest time that I'll probably say in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I read a book. I read two books. One was called The Alchemist, and then one was called The Four Agreements. I don't know if you ever heard of them books, but the Four Agreements talk about a lot of that. And I ain't even finished reading the whole book, but in like the beginning of the book, it's like, yo, you're conditioned to these things. You're conditioned to doing these things, or you just accept these things because you look around and the people that you look up to for safety and protection, if they agree with it, then most of the time you're gonna be like, all right, cool. I guess that's the answer. I guess that's the right answer. I guess that's just the answer that's gonna keep me safe. Because you gotta remember, the brain ain't wired to make you happy. The brain wired to keep you safe. So you're gonna look at what other people doing to be safe, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I need to do that to be safe. That's the way I need to go.
Yeah, like a copycat world.
It's I wouldn't say it's a crazy answer. I wouldn't say it's a dumb answer. It's honestly a smart answer, because if you gon' like, you gotta understand, if you're gonna walk outside the lines, you gotta understand what that come with. If you're gonna like jump outside of the societal norms, you gotta understand what that come with. So
Right.
just like you said, when it came to agreeing with my parents, like for a long time, I was like, yeah, this I don't know what's on the other side of me doing it by myself. So I'm gonna agree with them because they obviously know something. And then it hit to a point in my life where I was like, maybe they're human like I am.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now that was huge. Having that realization that my parents are human, my parents have made mistakes, and my parents don't always have the right answer was a huge part of my life where it was like, okay, so if they are telling me this, maybe that's just from their experience. And they feel like they've had success from that experience. And now they think I can too. And, and times change and people change and all of that stuff. So that experience they had, of course, isn't going to be the same experience you have. But just realizing that everybody's human and there is no, like when it comes to making life decisions, there isn't necessarily this is the right way. There's just better options. You know what I mean?
Yeah, ain't it funny how that creates a more genuine conversation though?
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
when you stop to be like, hey, like I get it. You raised me in a great way. Like
Yeah.
I'm obviously doing okay for myself. I ain't deceased.
Right.
I ain't deceased by any means that are not my own. But then like you talk to him, you're like, hey, but let's peel back the onion real quick. Like we ain't gotta play the facade games no more. Like I'm obviously trying to figure out the world on my own. I just want to get your real perspective on things. You have like a way more genuine conversation to the point where you can get out of the point and they can be receptive to it instead of being like, nah, man, just stop, just follow my way because I'm trying to teach you how to be safe.
Right.
That's not about being safe. It's about learning together.
Exactly.
It's about growing together. I have found that has made my relationship with my parents and the people around me like even more valuable.
Yep.
Because then you grow together, you learn together, and you share an opinion. You're like, you know what? Respectfully, I don't like that opinion, but that's a decent opinion though.
Right.
I can respect where you're coming from.
Exactly. And you said the word right there. It's all about perspective, right? Their perspective of wanting to keep you safe and doing what's best for you, not wanting to see you hurt, loving you, and things like that. And then the perspective of the things that they have went through and they're trying to avoid you going through. And then your perspective of this is, especially at a young age where this is all new, this is all fresh. Like I want to explore. If I get hurt, maybe there's something I can learn from it. And I want to try this out because I see that the benefits outweigh the risks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just that whole gradual perspective, and nothing's more beautiful than growing, healing, learning with the people that you love and cherish the most, because that's what makes those relationships so much more genuine, like you said, and just it's just a beautiful process altogether.
You think everything would have turned out different if we would have known that back then? You know what I
As
mean?
kids,
Yeah, you think everything turned out like bad, different, like you know what I'm saying? What would you do? Could you even hold the information that you have now about like
man, I don't think we had the mental capacity for it. Like just our brains at that age, I just don't think we can like apply that type of critical thinking and like just be able to look at it from other people's perspective. Because when you're that young, the only person that matters is you. It's not like everybody else is like, well, you're supposed to be taking care of me. It's like, how does this affect me? Like, what what you do, how does it impact me? Not so much of what am I doing and how it impacts or represents you,
right?
but like when you're that young, the world is revolved around you. Like today, it's like the world isn't revolved around you. But when you're that young, and what you can grasp is all around you.
I think it even goes to a point I wouldn't have believed it if you would have told me at the age of 18. Just example, you told me at the age of 18, hey yo, not 18, probably like 8. You told me at the age of 8, yo, you when you get older, you're gonna be in the army and you're gonna be tatted and you're gonna have like cars and you're gonna have money. I'd be like, man, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I agree with you, like having the capacity or even believing that is true.
Yeah.
And even believing that, hey, yo, one day you're gonna be able to talk to your parents like two grown adults. Nah, I'm still getting whooped. They still beating me with belts. What are you talking
exactly.
about? Like yeah.
You're gonna start looking at each other as peers instead of like as a dependent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like yeah, all right, she's still telling me to go get that switch out the yard though.
Yeah.
Like sure.
No,
I don't believe none of that.
Facts.
Show it to me.
Because when you get like, you just think like, for the most part, man, dang, like I'm gonna be getting disciplined forever. You know what I mean? Like, what if I'm misbehaving or whatever, or maybe even I'm gonna get a reward. This is a big one. Maybe you think I'm gonna get a reward for every good thing that I do,
right?
And you don't. Like in the real world,
right?
You just don't get rewards for everything that you think is right, and you don't get disciplined for everything you do is wrong. But that's a whole nother conversation, because that's whenever I kind of start thinking of karma and the whole what you put into the world comes back into you.
Shit, I had a conversation with the brethren the other day, and I didn't understand it, but the rough thing he told me, he said, yo, one way to kind of keep yourself in a positive mindset, you got to understand that you don't deserve anything. And I was like, huh? I said, huh? What you talking about? He's like, everything is doing what it's supposed to do. Like your brain, like think about it, like what are you really? You know what I'm saying? It went into a real deep conversation that was just basically like everything is gonna do what it's gonna do. Like the universe is moving in a way that it's gonna move. Like you don't get stronger because you put in the work. You're getting stronger because your body's adapting. Your body, not you, your body is adapting to stress. Like everything is adapting to stress. Exactly. You're not doing anything. You should be grateful for what you get out of it. You don't deserve it. Just be grateful for what's happening in the way that it's happening. I say that shit. That's crazy.
Powerful. That is really powerful.
I said that's crazy.
No, I actually have a quote in my phone. It's in my iPad too. That literally says that, like, you don't deserve anything. Like, you be grateful for what you get, and like whatever you like. The idea behind that quote is you are grateful for what you get, and be wary of the things that you reap. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, if you put bad into the world, like, it's going to come back into you. But like, there's nothing that makes you more special than anybody else on this planet.
Exactly.
So like, why do you think you deserve this and that person doesn't deserve this?
Exactly. You know? Even more so, you are a part of the universe. Like, if you take yourself out of the perspective of like it's just two guys sitting inside of a living room, you take yourself and you look at the ecosystem and then you look at the world. Like we're on a freaking floating rock in the middle of space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're a part of the universe. You're one with the universe. So with that being said, the thing that makes you special is somebody else. Like if they see you as special, you special.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, that don't make you not special, but that's just the way that they see you. That's just the interpretation they have of you. I mean, you can even say the same thing of if somebody does see you special. That's just their interpretation of you. It means something if you want it to.
Right. That's powerful. That's a powerful quote. That also reminds me of another one. Gosh, I can't remember who said this one, but he said essentially, gosh, you know what? Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah, here it is right here. Charles Cooley. I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. And basically what I got from that was I am not the perception of myself and I am not your perception of me. I am the perception that you have of my perception of myself. Like, wow, like, whoa. You know, like, and essentially what I got from that is because really that idea is so complex is just be true and be you. You can't control what other people think of you.
Right.
And you're biased of what you think of yourself.
Right.
So the best thing you can do is just try to be the best person that you can be. And if somebody says, wow, that person is great or whatever, you know what I mean? Then that's their perception of you. But that doesn't define who you are. That's how that person defines you. You know, like there's a million definitions of you.
And the
you meet a million people.
And the crazy thing is if you really sit and you really internalize that, you find that you gain so much power from it because now you remove yourself. You can easily remove yourself from things that normally would have you bound.
Exactly.
Like you might be like, I don't feel healthy, or I feel fat, or I feel too skinny. Because I've been there. Like I'd be in the mirror and I'd be like, man, I'm in the gym all the time. I don't feel like I'm swole. But then like it's easy to just it's easier to remove myself now and be like, it don't matter, man. Yeah. Like, really, what's the purpose that you have of even going to the gym? Even more so, what does the gym mean to you? Even more so, remove yourself even further and further from that, and you'll see that you choose to go to the gym for a specific reason. Yeah. And you'll find that specific reason may not even be body image, or even if it is, you may just be able to shape that image of yourself for yourself. Like, it gives you power.
You're right. That's beautiful, man. I like that. I do like that. Let's talk a little bit more about you. All right. So, what are some of your interests and hobbies? What are things that you like to do?
Me, I like to do things like, so I used to play instruments. I still fool around on the keyboard.
Oh, you gotta teach me how to play the guitar, man.
Man, I'm trying to get with the guitar. I did trumpet and keyboard. Trumpet was my thing. I used to listen to Miles Davis all the time because the harmony mute, it's a beautiful sound when you put it on the trumpet. Of course, me and my brother, we record music going off of that. I do like to exercise in my own free time. I'm trying to get into personal training. I love boxing. Mostly though, these days I'm really into chilling. Like I'm really into finding a nice chill spot and just watching the world be what it is. Or even more so, I'm super introverted. But every now and then I'll find myself learning how to be an introvert in the world and learn how to have a conversation with probably like one person, and then that's our bubble. That's our bubble. That's our conversation. And I get comfortable in that bubble. We just have a conversation, man. We just take it anywhere. Like I'm branching out to doing a lot of different things, but those are my main things I do like to do.
Well, introvert surprises me, man, because the way we kind of just had met each other that night of Friendsgiving and got to conversating, man, I swear, like, I almost felt like we was talking, we knew each other for a long time. You know what I mean? The way how organic and how deep we got. But another thing I personally know about you that I learned from Friendsgiving is that you are quite the chef, man. You cook, man.
Listen. It wasn't until I got in my mind about around the age of 23, I was like, don't no woman like a man that can't take care of himself. Mm-hmm. So if I can't get in here, like let's say I have a woman and it's Valentine's Day. You you better know how to cook a steak.
Yes.
At the minimum, you better know how to cook a steak. Put some butter, put some oregano, put some parsley on it. You better know how to do something. You know what I mean? Don't a woman want no man who can't really take care of themselves. So I was like, all right, cooking is a part of the game. I gotta learn how to do some stuff for myself, and as well as every now and then when I get like the mood, I be like, I'm gonna cook something good for lunch. I'm gonna make my day good.
Treat myself. Exactly.
I'm gonna treat myself good.
That's you. I'm really big on that. Like, you know what? I don't need a reason. I'm doing it because it's me. It's just me. Like, I got the time. I'm gonna take care of me for once. Because you feel like, especially at work, you feel like you're giving so much of yourself at work or to other people and things like that. It's like, well, how do you pay that back to yourself?
Well, where am I at?
Right, exactly. So cooking yourself something nice, like every now and then, I might go out there and fix me a solo steak. You know what I mean? Like I got flowers over there. Y'all can't see it on the audience can't see it, but I got flowers over there, right? And I get asked all the time, people to come over like, why you got flowers, man? You got a girl to stay here with you or something? I was like, no, I get myself flowers.
I like these flowers, man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I literally buy myself flowers because like I appreciate them. Like, I feel like a lot of guys like don't get flowers until they're already gone. Like, I want to be able to smell the roses. I want to be able to appreciate them while I'm still here. Now, that's not saying that you got to get me flowers. It's just saying I'm going to get them for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just my way of treating myself and paying myself back in the small ways.
Listen, fellas. Take care of you. If you know how to treat yourself good, you might just find that you can treat a woman the same way or even better. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You gotta be if you not good to you, you're not giving yourself the energy, the time, the capability. You're not even giving yourself a chance to give the good side of you to somebody else because you already just drained it all away.
Exactly, because you're trying to prepare yourself to take care of somebody else, but you can't take care of nobody. You can't love anybody if you don't love yourself first.
Exactly.
That's the big thing.
And that's not even saying to be selfish, but that's just saying don't forget you in the equation.
Mm-hmm.
When your rail runs dry, who gonna fill it up, bro? Like, you gotta fill it up because nobody gonna fill it up for you. And I hate it that's that way. But as a man, as a black man, bro, you gotta fill up your own well. And you'll find that that's more fun than a chore.
1,000%. 1,000%. So, speaking of you and cooking and everything, is there anything that you do where you felt like it wasn't reciprocated or you kind of felt judged by peers or by your family, like cooking or baking, for example? Is there anything like along those lines?
Man, for a long period of time until recently, that was I had to say that was almost everything. Because here's the thing, man. I recognize that I'm a man, for one, and I recognize that I'm a black man. And yeah, like, social media is kind of betraying because you'll see like on social media a lot of times they're like, oh, we love this, we love that, and not even get too racial, but people will be like, we love this and we love that. But then when you translate it over into real life, you find that you're way more heavily scrutinized on everything. So cooking was like a big one. Yeah. And like I said, when in my marriage, like, that really taught me how to pay attention to the small shit. Cause it would be, and it sounds ridiculous, but it would be something small like, hey, you can't even put dishes in the dishwasher right. And in my mind, I'm like, how do you put dishes in what's the right and the wrong way? And now I'm old enough to know that. But then, like, you know what I'm saying, from that point on forward, like, it's been a lot of stuff that I had to pay attention to real heavy on, or a lot of stuff I did pay attention to real heavy on how I was doing it. And was it good enough? Maybe, maybe not. And then I eventually got to the point where, all right, you're learning how to do this. You're going to be bad at it.
Yeah.
But perfect.
Give yourself grace.
Yeah.
So that way, if you're already hard on yourself, then you're going to want to give up and quit on it. But you giving yourself grace allows you to motivate yourself to be like, no, it's okay to make mistakes. I got a limited number of times to learn and get this right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I'm at the point where I'm trying to take that and be like, hey, man, if you don't make learning tough. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Especially in life, like like in work and stuff, they already pressure you to learn, and you got to get this by this, and give you a deadline and things like that. Whenever it's just life and it's you are in control of it. Oh yeah, man, be easy. Like have fun with it. Like take the recreational time to learn different ways how to do it and things like that. Because why be hard on yourself if other people are already hounding you for
Exactly, man. Exactly.
So, you actually jumped into a good case when you talked about like even just loading the dishwasher in your marriage and everything. So, um, the next thing I want to ask you is like, what do traditional gender roles look like to you, and how would you compare those to what modern gender roles look like?
So I'm gonna say disclaimer: I am not by any means a love guru, but what do traditional gender roles look like to me? First off, like when you talk about a man, you, well, let me reverse because I'm not a woman, so I can't talk about a woman. So I won't end on being like, oh, this is what a woman should do. But I'll tell you what I appreciate
Yeah,
about a
yeah,
woman. I appreciate about the women that I'm around. It's that one, they know how to be feminine. Two, they know how to follow my lead. That may be controversy,
mm,
but I'm gonna tell you like this: if a woman want a man to lead, give him that chance. Cause you don't give him the chance, then if you're gonna be the leader, then be the leader. But you're not gonna find the man that you're looking for if you don't give him an opportunity to do what he is made to do. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So again, a woman that is feminine, a woman that leads, and a woman that cares and they have mercy. You know what I mean?
mm,
Because you're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Men are not perfect. Hell, even if you're a woman dating a woman, women aren't perfect.
right,
But if you really love them and you really care about them, give them an opportunity to make up for it. Now, if they're not making up for it, fine. That means that they don't have much care in you. But if they're trying to make up for it and they're actively working toward it,
yeah,
give it time. Now, man's a different story. For me, traditional men are like somebody who cares, somebody who takes care of they people no matter what. You got a broke leg? Well, the family need food. What we gonna do?
right.
You know what I
You gotta
mean?
go to work
What
every
what
day.
what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
We gotta do, and it's again sucks. But I think I like saw like a TED talk where, long story short, it was a woman. She wrote a book for women. I think it was detailing women's lives. And a man walked up and he got the book signed. He said, hey, I saw you wrote all this about women, da 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 da, but I noticed you didn't take the perspective of a man. And she said, well, yeah, because the book is about women. He's like, you see those girls over there? They would rather me die on my white horse than see me take a knee. That's that's a whole fact because
Yeah,
that's what we're there for. We are there to be the protectors, to be the providers. They don't. If we show any type of weakness, they're gonna feel uneasy.
right.
They're not gonna feel safe no more. And then we not doing our job. That creates turmoil. So I feel like we should create that safety. We need to take care of our women. We need to do a better job of giving positivity to
Mm,
our women. Let them know that they're special. Black, white, don't really matter. Let your woman know that you're special.
yeah,
As well as men need to take care of themselves. Because as we just said, you can't do nothing for nobody if you
you're not
don't
taking
take
care
care of
of
yourself. The
it. Yeah,
machine won't run if you don't take care of it.
right. Yeah, see, so like my whole kind of thing versus traditional versus modern gender roles is like, traditional is typically what anybody I guess would think is, women would kind of stay home, take care of the kids, take care of the house, um, not have like any outside employment or anything like that. And then the man is supposed to be like the breadwinner. He's supposed to typically uh, be the leader, provide a safe space and things like that. I think today, when we modernize what gender roles are, I think you see much of the same, but everybody has kind of an obscure view of what that is. So like, um, you may find a woman who's has that traditional mindset and say that I want to be at home and I'm okay with taking care of the house and kids. Or you may run into a woman who is a leader and doesn't mind being the leader of a household. Um, and a man who is kind of like, okay, I'll stay home with the kids type thing. I think that in today's age, those things kind of change a little bit. Like it becomes where one side may look very was traditionally known as feminine, and one side looks like very masculine and leadership like. I think you see a lot of those roles in both places in different type of relationships and families. So it's hard to define by what it looks like today. But I think that you see those differences with different people in different relationships.
I'm gonna be real with you, bro.
Mhm.
We not talking no more. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We not talking no
Yeah.
more. Cause even with a modern and a traditional sense, the thing that makes those things work is that that's a compromise between the two.
Oh yeah,
It's-
communication.
at a certain point, it don't even matter. Like she can go to work and the man can stay home. That's cool if they agree on that.
Mhm.
In my belief, you know what I'm saying? When you tear down the constructs of society and you're like, all right, what works? What works for me and you? It's like that's a conversation. I feel like social media has really taken away our
Yes.
ability to like talk, our ability to have a conversation. Like many people that I like approach or talk to, like they'll be surprised that you talking to them, and I'm the introvert, and they'll cut my conversation off faster than anything else. I'm like, well, we can't all be introverted. Like I know I'm an introvert. I dead ass. I love being by myself. That's how I recharge.
Yeah.
I have the most fun by myself.
Yeah.
However, you know what I'm saying? When I do have these conversations with people, you'll notice how like how when you bring the good energy, they open up. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I never knew this existed outside of my phone.
Right. Exactly. That's a good point. So I think phones and social media does make it changes the setting of what a relationship looks like. I think social media does create a platform to where a lot of people compare their lives and their relationships to what they see on social media, not realizing what's on social media isn't always true. They're only showing you the good times. They're only showing you the highlights of that relationship, but you don't know what's going on with that person, let alone that relationship behind closed doors. And I think also social media with so much um I don't want to say toxic because it sounds so derogatory, but
Mm-hmm.
it does create this environment where it's men versus women, and it's like, what happened to cohesion? What happened to being together and understanding our differences, accepting each other for those differences, and whenever we come into a relationship, working on those things and growing and learning together. You know what I
Right.
mean? I think like social media is like, if this person is this way, don't be with them. If this person is that way, don't be with them. And a lot of like, what's the word? Abusive or um toxic ways about a person, then yeah, of course, you don't want to be with somebody that's harming you emotionally, mentally, or physically. But if those are things that can be communicated, if they're because it'd be examples of like, if you make more money than him, then you need to find you a man that makes more money. Like what?
No.
Like you know what I mean? It's like where is this coming from? If she don't have sex with you X amount of times a day or a week, then you need to go find a woman that will
Like, no, that's unrealistic.
Yeah.
Y'all was happy just a minute ago.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like those are things where they are creating your values in a relationship for you. You're at that point you're refusing to think for yourself
Yeah.
and what you actually want and those compromises that you're willing to make.
Yeah.
Because you got to understand, you're not going to meet every expectation of a man or a woman, and they're not going to meet every expectation of you. You have to find that balance. And the biggest thing about being in a relationship is understanding, is this a happy, healthy, safe environment? You know what I mean? Do I get this from this person? Does this person support me? Does this person encourage me? Am I getting those things? If all the answers to those things is yes, but he makes less money than you, and you're like, I'm getting out. Like what?
Yeah, at the end of the day, man, it's like, does that even really matter?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Does that even really matter? Because do they match with you? Is their nature what you want in your life? You know what I mean? Exactly as you said. If they treating you good, they make sure you take care of, and they're constantly trying. Hey man, come on now.
Oh yeah, that's a big point.
Come on
Constantly
now.
trying. Yeah, because I also feel like in today's generation, it is so we find it so convenient and easy to give up, to quit. You know what I mean? And that's anything, sports, school, relationship, where we refuse to go through adversity because it's uncomfortable. And like you mentioned earlier, our brain is wired to keep us safe. And if we feel unsafe, then we want to get out of that environment. But the truth about being human and humanity is it's when you are unsafe and when you are uncomfortable is when you learn and you grow. That's how you become better. So how if you're always in that constant state of I need to be safe, then you're always refusing that opportunity to grow and expand and become better.
Yeah.
But if you are always challenging yourself and challenge yourself in relationships and with whatever it is, like activities, work, school, sports, then you're always accepting that possibility of becoming a better person.
Yeah. I want to put it out in the air. It's no matter who you are, if whether it look easy or not, that shit's hard.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever is hard to you, that shit is hard. Like,
Yeah.
understand that's just
Nobody can
normal.
define that for you.
You know what I mean?
Like,
That's just tough.
yeah, 100%. So another question I want to ask you after going through talking about hobbies and things that you felt like you were judged by peers or family, do you think there's things that men do that add or take away from their masculinity today? So like you being someone that cooks for yourself now, like would you say that that takes away masculinity from you because you do that, or if you crochet, do you think that would take that masculinity away from you?
I do think there are things that take away the masculinity from you, but I don't think it's about the activity. I think it's about the attitude you have toward it. For example, I get my eyebrows done. I like to look nice.
Yeah,
Guess who compliments me on looking nice? Other women.
yeah,
Guess what I do? Yeah, I take care of myself. That does not take away my masculinity. That's like, yes, I'm taking care of the machine that keep running. You could also be a part of this machine that's taking care of the machine. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I don't think doing specific activities take away from the masculinity, but I think masculinity is about making a decision at the end of the day.
Mhm.
It's like making a decision and being confident in the decision. Like, I'm in the military, you're in the military. When it comes to military stuff, what they tell you, make a decision. Whether it's wrong, be confident in it.
Yeah. That's all.
That's a lot of things that people, young kids, women, anybody looks for. They're looking for somebody that, like, if I make a mistake, yeah, I made that mistake. It was a big mistake. I own it, but we gonna fix it.
Right.
We gonna confidently fix it. So I think it's all about the attitude per
No,
se.
that's a good argument, man. That was strong what you just said. Definitely, I agree. I don't think there's one thing or activity or something you like or whatever that takes away from who you are. You know what I mean? I'm gonna read real quick what Webster's definition of masculinity is, and then I want you to kind of just provide me what your definition of it is.
Yeah.
So Webster's dictionary of masculinity is considered to be a characteristic of men marked by or having qualities, features, etc., traditionally associated with men or boys. So, how would you define what masculinity means to you, and what does that look like today?
You lead, you take charge.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you do and everything that you're about to do, you own it. You know what I mean?
Right.
The decisions that you make, they come with little emotion. They come with little regard to they come with little emotion, and sometimes they may come with little regard to common sense. Sometimes they may not make common sense. Let's say I had a lady and she get into an argument. Well, my decision is I'm gonna stomp it out. Whoever she arguing with, I'm going to attack and destroy. That's that common sense? No. But I want my lady to feel safe. It is masculine for me to take care of her and make sure that her problem go away. Right. That's it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't think masculine can be defined as what males do, because I mean, what does a male do? Define a male. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can only define a male by sex, gender, organs, and stuff like that. But let's say you had a woman who is not being feminine, she's being masculine. Well, how do you find that? She's not a male.
Right.
I mean, she doesn't have the same organs that I do. But if she's not necessarily taking charge, but she's doing it in a manner that's aggressive, pointed, there's no emotion attached. There's only, yo, I gotta do this because my insert here. I gotta do this because this insert here. That's, to me, that's a masculine trait.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you doing that shit, like I'm gonna stomp this out, I'm gonna stomp this problem out, regardless. That's a pretty masculine trait.
Yeah. I think masculinity is, today it looks different than what traditionally it was, right? So I think today masculinity is, of course, leadership, and also like head of whatever, you know what I mean? Like head of household, or you lead your own life by charge or whatever. But I also think today masculinity looks like support. You know, I think masculinity looks like caring now, you know, and a lot of people would say, oh, that's feminine. That's not what I would consider to be masculine. Well, I think there's different ways of caring and there's different ways of supporting. But what I find today is that you have to be well rounded in almost everything to not only take care of yourself but take care of others. You know what I mean? It's more common today to see single parent raised households. You know, so whenever you have to find yourself being whatever masculine is and whatever feminine is as a single parent to your children, because you may not have another partner that can do the things that you're weak at. You have to learn how to be strong in your weaknesses. You know what I mean? So masculinity is kind of hard for me to necessarily give a specific definition, because obviously, like, that word masculine, as we just read in the Webster's Dictionary, is tied to men and boys just as feminine is to women and girls. But I think that there is just being human now. I don't think that there is a certain way that men should act and there's a certain way women should act. I think that you just learn to be empathetic, strong, a leader, all as a person. You know what I mean? And then there's those things that you're weak in and there's those things that you're strong in. And if finding a relationship is what you're passionate, or if finding a relationship is something that you want to get into, then you find somebody that can help you with your weaknesses.
You know what? I mean? You know, I
support you in that way.
I whole time agree with that, because as you just said that, I was like, you know what, that's like absolutely right. Because you know what I'm saying, just because somebody does that, don't, you know what I'm saying, it don't really tie you to that definition. Mm-hmm. And even as I just said before, when you peel back and just destroy the construct, what is it really?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's really just somebody taking care of something, somebody taking care of someone. So you know what I'm saying? I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Right. Honestly. So like the way how the example you use in defending your woman and getting rid of her problems and that being masculine, I see that as like somebody else would say, if she did that for her kids, that would be very feminine.
Yo.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's a mama bear. Don't mess with a mama bear. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, is that masculine? Is that feminine? Or is that just being a parent? Is that just being a mother or a father? You know what I mean? So it's like, these are, to me, it's kind of hard to define what this looks like today, because it's almost like I said, like, people need to learn how to be more well-rounded in all of these things. And that's not an easy thing to do. I think today the problem is people want to attach new definitions or old definitions to these words, but they can't explain what that looks like. So I think that that's just something that as we get older and as like these generations are becoming more what's the word I'm looking for? Just less focused on what a man should do and what a woman should do. They just learn how to be human, because that's what it's really just is. It's just being human, and not saying that there are manly characteristics like boys can only play football and girls can cheerlead. You know what I mean? It's just learning, like, this is a skill that somebody wants to do. They can be a heterosexual male and enjoy these activities that heterosexual females like, or you can be a heterosexual female and enjoy actions that heterosexual males like, and the same for vice versa for if you're homosexual or not. You know what I mean? It's just learning how to not only accept other people for who they are, but learning to accept yourself. And that goes into my next point, really.
Yeah.
So how do we carry what masculinity is, or what it is that you like, into relationships? And what does that look like in a relationship, or just like within yourself?
Shoot, man, going off of what you just said, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna kind of take masculinity out of it for a second. So going off of what you just said, how I do it, how Corey do it, you gotta have barriers and boundaries. A lot of people, I recently read this somewhere. I thought it was the most genius thing. I was like, damn, man, teaching me about relationships again. Barriers are not meant to keep people out.
Yeah.
It's meant to keep you in. So say like you even had like a relationship, like a friendship. It's like, hey man, they did something. It's like, hey man, listen, I don't appreciate that. I don't know. I don't appreciate that you was yelling in the middle of the store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they can either choose to be like, oh damn, I value this friendship. If that's what you don't want me to do around you, I do that. I value the friendship so we can stay friends. You know what I mean? That's a barrier to keep you in, not push you out, not to say I don't accept you for who you are. The long answer to say that to like put that masculinity, or to even put who you are into a relationship and make it healthy, you just gotta communicate the boundaries, communicate the barriers. You know what I mean? Like, this will make me feel good. This don't make me feel good, and that does not mean that those boundaries and barriers will stay the same. So you gotta keep communicating. You gotta keep asking, and you gotta keep telling.
Yep, that's true. That is so true. I couldn't agree more. I would answer that the same ways, is communication, right? So like always communicating and understanding that we are separate people that came together, and because we're still separate people, we're constantly growing, we're constantly learning, we're constantly changing. And when you get into a relationship, you got to understand that about yourself and your partner. So you always have to communicate those changes and what those things look like. So another thing that I just thought of is, what does that look like when a person doesn't accept that? So like you communicate what those boundaries are, or you communicate those things that you like and what they are, and things that you have, what makes you happy as an individual are, but your partner doesn't accept that. What do you do then? How do you move forward from there?
You then become the villain. Cause then you gotta be the one to be like, you gotta stand on it, man. Cause again, from personal experience, I hate being the villain. I really do. And that gets taken as, oh, he's a nice guy. I'm too nice. Cause I hate being the villain. But you gotta be the villain. Cause you being the villain is saying that, if you're not gonna respect my boundaries, this ain't gonna work. And that's saving you in the end from sacrificing when you ain't have to. Because if you're sacrificing and they're not going to sacrifice you, they're not going to compromise with you. Oh, you're giving a lot already. Yeah. You're giving up a lot already. You're compromising who you are internally, changing yourself altogether. And you got to be the villain. And I hate to say it because I hate to be the villain. Yeah. But that's what that like to me.
So I like what you just said. So how do I want to say this? It's true. You have to understand what you're asking of yourself when you learn that somebody doesn't like or agree with your boundaries or the things that you like and what makes you you, right? I don't want to say I say this all the time, right? You're not going to be the hero in everybody's story.
Right.
It's impossible. Like, people pleasers, people that try to make everybody happy, people that always try and go into somebody's life and feel like they have a positive effect on their life. It's not true. You're always going to run into those people who have bad experiences with you, and you will be the villain of their story. Whether it's because you broke their heart, or you disagreed with them, or whatever the case may be. Even like drastic things like y'all got into a fight, or you were picked over somebody for a promotion or things like that, right? You're going to be the villain in somebody's story. But I think of internally, you choosing yourself does not make you a villain. When you choose to separate yourself from a situation or from people who can't respect who you are and respect what makes you feel safe and things like that, that doesn't internally make you a villain. Now, to them, they may have that perception like, oh, this person's cutting things off with me because I can't appreciate this about them. But if they look at your perspective, because you refuse to look at it from their perspective or respect what they want, you may just be the villain.
Yeah.
But see, so how JaCorei sees it is because you refuse to accept my boundaries or you don't agree with the things that I like and you don't want to be a part of those things, that doesn't make you anything. That makes you an individual who just disagrees with me. You know what I mean? So, but just because you disagree with me doesn't mean that you're a villain or that I don't like you or you mean anything less to me. That just means that I can't move forward with you in the way that we could have potentially. You know what I mean? That just makes us people that now have cross paths and now on separate paths. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't make anybody good or bad, but in today's perception, if somebody disagrees with you, that makes you a bad guy.
And
you know what I mean?
And that's exactly why I put it like that, because to tell somebody that, yo, this ain't gonna work. And mind you, we're saying boundaries. It's not as simple as, oh, you don't put the chair back under the table when you get up from eating. It's not as simple as that. It's something more drastic, something it's like a culmination of things, or it's something more drastic as in, yo, every time I talk to you about how I feel, you ignore me or you just don't take it seriously. It's something like that. Like, nah, I can't deal with that.
Right.
And a lot of people will be like, well, this is who I am. You don't accept who I am? I mean, no, I accept who you are, but you just can't be with me. We can't be on that level. We can be friends and you can be in a friend place, but you can't elevate to a level where I'm going to give everything and you can't even give me that in which I need the most.
Yeah.
I think it's important to detail that. It's not simple like you can't take out trash. It's not that simple.
Right. It's always something that's more intimate because those things can be communicated about. We can communicate about those things, but it's always something that makes us our core.
Yeah.
That makes us who we are. And it's when people refuse to refuse and disagree to accept us for that, then that's whenever those things come. Because then what happens is you have two kind of people. You have people that try to change themselves in order to stay in a relationship or stay in a friendship. And you have those who say, okay, well, I can only move this way with you moving forward. You know what I mean? And I feel like those people who struggle with accepting those things about themselves, like those people who confirm to the way how people are, and those people not accepting them, they have troubles accepting who they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they struggle with knowing who they are. So they just go with, you know what? That's okay. That doesn't bother me that much anyway.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just put it to the side. I personally have a thing where it's like, yo, be who you gonna be, because what you see up front is what you gonna get for however long we're together. So be who you gonna be.
100%.
Allow me to reject what you give me, as well as I allow you to reject what I give you.
Right.
However, I would tell you that it's not who you are that I think it's important too. It's not who you are that you're rejecting. It's how you treat me.
Right.
It's how you do me.
Powerful.
It's how you do me. If you do me dirt, man, I can't take nobody to do me dirt. And let me tell you, these are my boundaries. This is what doing me dirt look like. Yeah. This is what doing me dirt feel like. If you do these and you just don't care about that, wow, do your thing. Yeah, right. do your thing. We cool at the end of the day, but do your thing. We gotta do that thing separately.
You said something so powerful. You said that be who you are up front, right? I feel like today when you find yourself in that dating realm, in that I want to be in a relationship world, people will show you or try to sell you a person they think that you want, but not be true and genuine to who they are. And that is false. And that's false to who you are, but also you're also not giving that person the opportunity to know who you are and what they can accept from you. Because by you always selling them something that they think they want, they think they're buying, like, oh my God, this is exactly what I want. We're going to get into a relationship, we're going to get married, and I'm going to have exactly what I want. But then when that true you comes out and they find themselves in that situation, and you find yourself in a situation where you're tired of doing what this is, what that person wants, and they see who you are and realize that that is not what they want, you guys both find yourself unhappy, but both in a commitment where you can either A, communicate and try and resolve those things, or B, you're just unhappy together.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna hold you. You gonna go to a job interview 100% authentic. Like, be real.
Mm-hmm.
Million job interview, 6 figures a year. You not gonna put on your Sunday suit? You not gonna go in there and read the dictionary like, what is the words? What are the key words? I'm gonna tell you right now, I get it. You find somebody that's like amazing, and you want to sell yourself to them. You wanna show them the best. You putting on your Sunday best. Well, I get that, but it's, you know what I'm saying. Also, what we're referring to is like, what you got to give them the chance to see the upside.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, of course, spit that game, man. Showing the best you got. You know what I mean? Girls, showing the best you can be. Men, showing the best you can be. But make sure that you let them know what the everyday you look like. Because then, if you go into, just like a job interview, you go into a job interview saying you could do all these things, and then one day you have a bad day, and they're like, "That's not what you showed me in the jump."
Yeah.
3 years ago. Yeah, that was like 3 years ago, man. I had one bad day. Like, cut me some slack. Yeah, well, this ain't gonna work because you're not who you say you are.
Right.
Like, just make sure you introduce them to the full you, in my
100%.
opinion.
I think also though, I think about the opportunity that you deny yourself when you do that. Mm-hmm. Right. So you deny yourself, to me, a chance at a true, genuine connection, because you're always giving somebody else what they want. You find yourself tired and exhausted because your needs and your wants aren't being met. You know what I mean? And that's to go in a relationship, or like you said, the job world and things like that. But you will deplete yourself of the energy it takes to please someone else that you can't pay yourself back.
Yep.
Because you won't get that from the person that you're trying to please. Because you see something in somebody, and that thing may be shiny, and may be nice, and it might be new. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing for you, or it's a good thing at all. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because just because that house is big, I bet you that foundation is trash. So as soon as you move in, that thing might come tumbling down on top of you. And that's how you get people that's divorced, broken up with a broken heart, depressed, all of the things. Yeah. Because they find themselves trying to give something to somebody, give something to someone that they aren't, in order to get what they think they see in something. Whenever it may not be gold, it might just be, what is it?
Everything that glitters not gold. Yeah, it might just be like, I know what you're talking about. It's the other one to gold. I know what you're talking about. Can't name it
might
myself.
Be sterling, or yeah,
something like that. It might just be a little bit of steel painted.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, the paint gonna wear off or something like that. You gotta be careful.
Exactly, man. I think that's where, like you said, when you are doing anything, and me personally, I'm at a place now where if I was interviewed for a job where I'm getting six figures, 7 figures, I'm going to go be myself. Where I am now, I can't say that I would have always been that way, but I think because now I recognize that, for one, money's not going to solve all my problems. Mm-hmm. It might just create more problems. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And for two, that if it's not meant for me, I'm okay with it not being meant for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like whatever comes into my life, and and things that I can accept and are within my skill set and the things that I like. I want to do something that I love doing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm doing something that I hate, I'm ruining lives, or I feel hurt, or I'm not as useful, but I'm making 7 figures a year. I just don't find myself being in that place where I could continue to do that thing. It might be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do this because damn, I'm getting two mil a year. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But then it's like after you're there for 5 years and you a millionaire or whatever, it's like, man, I feel like I got so much more to offer the world. Like I find more. I'm at a place now where I feel like I gotta give my purpose to spread that to as much people as I can. It's not just about me. You know what I mean? It's all the lives I feel like I can help and affect.
I ain't gonna hold you. My brother, he messed my mind up the other day.
Yeah.
My man's was like, "Hey, do you want to be at your job?" I was like, ah. I mean, he said, no, really, really, ask yourself. He was like, if you could quit today, if you quit your job today, what would you do? I was like, honestly, man, like stupid clichéness. I said I would be a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
I said I did have to be a farmer because what comes with being a farmer, like the satisfaction of you're actually providing for your family. You're not getting it from anybody else. You doing that.
Yep.
That's you. That's all you right there. Like you're actually providing for your family. It's just being one with nature. It's just you out there on the farmland doing what you got to do day in, day out. You just, you know what I'm saying? There's a certain peace about being a farmer. Now they may say, now whoever's watching this, maybe a farmer may be like, yeah, you lying like a mug. But you know what I'm saying? In my mind, there's a certain peace that comes with that.
Yeah.
And I said, I'd be a farmer. He said, well, why don't you? I ain't had no answer for him.
Yeah.
I had nothing for him. I sat there. He was like, you could do whatever you want to, but you are choosing to do this for what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your time, like it's like if you like don't like mind you, I ain't saying quit everything today, but he was like, you clearly want to do something else, but you choose to spend your time doing this. Do you feel like your time is wasted? That damn near brought tears to my eyes because I was like, I couldn't say nothing. You know what I mean? I froze up. I couldn't say nothing because I knew at this point that money wasn't everything. I knew at this point that the only thing that mattered was the satisfaction that I find within, the satisfaction with myself that I find within and that I pull out, like being able to provide for a family. These are things that are important to me. Providing for a family, taking care of my wife when I get one. You know what I'm saying? These things are important to me, not the money. These things, these values. And it's just like you said, stuff like that, man. Like you're not doing what you want to do. Why? Why is that? Why don't you just quit? Oh, you're choosing to stay a part of this cycle. Cool. Well, are you enjoying that? Questions like that mess me up. Yeah, that messed me up.
That's huge too, and for like the audience that's listening, like obviously, we're not trying to give that perception that, oh, like you're not doing what you want to, like quit your job and follow your dreams or whatever, because not every situation is meant for that. Some people are in financial situations where like they have to be stable and have that security to put food on the table and things like that. But we're saying that if you find yourself in the circumstances where you can, it's okay to give it a try.
Right.
If you can afford it, if that lifestyle is available and is an option for you and you are truly that passionate about it, then that's something that in your lifetime you will look back and regret that you didn't do.
Or even more so, like he asked me that question, and then after a while to think about it, I had to stop and I could, like, you know what I'm saying? I could articulate, well, I'm in this job because I reap these benefits out of my job. I reap this benefit out of my job. I reap this benefit out of my job. Like finding, like having a purpose, finding a purpose was completely up to me.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what I said. I made it this far, but I don't deserve that. I'm grateful.
Oh, yeah.
I wake up at my job, and even when the job like this week alone, the job was rough, but I had to work to take myself out of where I was. I had to be grateful. I had to sit there and be like, man, I got an office. man, I'm taking care of business.
That's beautiful.
Man, even at the small thing, man, I woke up this morning.
Facts. That's how you make it full circle.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's
beautiful. Like you learn how to be appreciative of those things. Like even when you find yourself in a hard spot, you just find those small things that are big, that are huge.
You know what I mean?
I'm healthy. You know what I mean?
And it really those things, like doing that. I'll even say I have to do those things daily because it really impacts and it really improves my mental health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where sometimes I have the good days and sometimes I have the bad days. When I had the bad days, I can sit back and I can be like, look, man, get out of your head because that doesn't exist. Huh? Like the past doesn't exist because it's not right here in front of you. The future doesn't exist because it ain't here yet. What exists is right here, right now. What you got right here, right now.
That's what you can control.
You know what I'm saying? That's what you can control. That's what you should be grateful for. That you can even control right here, right now. You know what I mean?
1,000%. That's huge. So I got another question for you. So after talking about how to take that rejection from other people, and how we accept each other's, or how do we accept ourselves, how can we learn to accept other people?
You gotta understand, it's just like you said earlier. You said the key thing earlier. We talked about it. Like, you are only special if somebody makes you special. All right, flip the script, man. Somebody is only one way if you choose to see them that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you take away the constructs, man. You take away all these words that we made up to communicate, like black, white, fucking Hennessy, Coke. Like, you take away all these words that we chose to use or chose to create to communicate, and you just look at a person for who they are. Somebody like you, trying to make it in the world. You don't have to agree with how they live their life, but you can appreciate that they are doing what you're doing.
Right.
Surviving.
Yeah.
Trying to make it. Finding happiness. Looking for it as hard as they can. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I feel like you just take away all the BS, man, and you just really look at a person for that raw truth. Like, at the end of the day, you're an animal, I'm an animal. If you just look at us like that, you can just appreciate that, hey man, they doing what they gotta do to survive at the end of the day. Right. Why are we the only mammals that do this? You know what I'm saying? We the only mammals that like wear clothes and all that good stuff. Like, you take monkeys. Monkeys not worried about no clothes. Take cheetahs. Cheetahs are literally just running off of instinct. They're just doing what they got to do to survive. One cheetah ain't looking at another cheetah like, your spots don't look right.
Yeah.
They just trying to survive. You know what I mean? They're just doing what they got to do. And at the end of the day, if they were to fight and one cheetah would have killed another cheetah, it ain't personal.
Right.
It's what they do. It's just what they do.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like you just take away all that stuff, man, and you just look at a person just for the basic stuff. Mm-hmm. You can appreciate that they're just doing the best they can.
Right. And in saying that, like, a person is just doing the best they can, I think you look back, the way how I accept other people is learning to understand that I am flawed myself. I make mistakes. I do weird, quirky things. I do things that nobody else does. And like, I myself will tell you, or am telling you now, that like, I'm not the perfect person, right? So why should we have that mindset that, oh, that's strange. Why is that person doing that? That person is dressed weird. That person does this. That person does that. I do weird things. They might not be those things, but I do things that most people would consider abnormal, or I watch shows that a lot of people won't watch, or I dress a certain way that a lot of people won't dress. And they may look at me and say the things that most society does do that I do as well. They may be like, that's weird. Why does that person do that?
Man, to me, in my opinion, when a person do that, man, you ain't yet grown to accept yourself.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like, acknowledging who you are, your weaknesses, your flaws, what you're not good at, you have no right. It is not your place to say that person is doing something wrong, judge somebody else because of whatever. It's just not your place. I think that's where you start to accept other people, whether it's in a relationship, a friendship, or just out here in the world. You know what I mean? We all make decisions. Those decisions just innately make us who we are.
Yep.
And those decisions that you make and who you become makes you no different, no special, no more important or less important than anybody else.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We all choose our own different route. But the one thing that we all have in common is that we're all human.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The two things is guaranteed in life is if you are born, you are going to die. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you have in between that. Guess what? You're going to live and you're going to die. Now, of course, we want that value of life to be to mean something, and yeah, you know, we want to be comfortable as we live, but that doesn't mean because you have these things or you live by this way doesn't mean that you are more or less important than anybody else that does or does not have those things.
Whole facts.
You know what I mean?
Whole facts. I agree with that.
So that's just how I learned, because I wasn't always that way. You know, like as an adolescent and growing up in my young adulthood, I used to be like, man, that guy's weird. That girl's weird because they hang with these people and do these things. But as I've learned and realized I'm learning myself.
Yeah. I used to be a hater. I used to be like, man, he's swole. He must do steroids. He look in back of my mind, like, I wish I was swole like this. I used to be a hater.
Yeah, no, it's just being human, though. You know what I mean? And that's just like, that's our ego talking to us, trying to make us feel just as important or even just as low as the next person.
Yeah, man, you know, nobody want to be left behind.
Right.
I think that's one of the big feelings too. Nobody want to be left behind. Like, yeesh.
Yeah, you know, and that's a good point. Is we all want to be in a group, right? But we are so unique and so individual. Is why just limit yourself to a group, like to a set population? Because we are like, there's nothing wrong with having things in common with people and being a part of like a group or anything, but just understand that you are just as unique as anybody in that group, and you're not the same as anyone by no stretch of the imagination. Everybody is different. You know what I mean? So don't just limit yourself to being a part of something because it's just okay to stand on your own 2 feet and be an individual.
Right.
Man, you told me at the beginning of this conversation, you said, before we even started, you said, hey, we're going to have a good conversation.
Listen.
We're going to chop it up for real.
listen. Because, again, for the first time, we was at the homie house, and we was just chopping it up. I was like, man, this man dropping some gems. He dropping some points. And I gotta sit back and be like, I ain't never really thought about it like that.
Same.
That really like shaped my whole way I used to think about things. Or it really shaped my whole way. I was like, man, I gotta navigate these things a little differently, man. I gotta sit here and reflect on these things a little differently, because that's a great point. These are some great points he brought up.
Same with you, man. And I think anybody, if you take the time to have those conversations with anybody can teach you something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you take that time, and one of the beautiful things that you said earlier is that you being an introvert, you still take that time to reach out and get to know and talk to other people. If you have those conversations with anybody, I think everybody thinks to some level of complexity about anything, you know, about any topic, where you have to sit back and be like, wow, you know, I never thought about that.
That brings up to that point. Remember that video I had sent to you with the homeless preacher?
Yeah.
My man said the key word, you got to teach. Like, somebody do you wrong, or you see somebody doing wrong, man, you just as wrong if you don't teach. Now, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? As we talked about this whole time, if they not trying, great. You know what I'm saying? You know where you need to be, and you know how you need to separate yourself. If somebody do you wrong, man, you're not doing yourself a service, and you're not doing them a service if you don't teach.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to teach them something.
Not taking that time to try and make somebody else better.
Yeah.
And that's what life is about, is teaching, learning from one another. You know, that's one of the things about humanity, you know, and I think that we are trying to get away from that in society, because in today's world, we are so selfish to think that if I know this, I have a one up over the person that doesn't know this. You know what I mean?
I would argue that in some aspects, we actually trying to get more closer to it. Maybe for the wrong reasons, but we trying to get more closer to it. Because if you like, you know what I'm saying? I know you've been around people who are like big on TikTok, and a lot of TikTok has a lot of useful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, yeah.
people want to be known and noticed. Some people just want to put the information out there. But I think that's like really important to notice that like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, some of the stuff that they put out inside of the air,
That's actually
it can be useful.
Yeah.
And it is a good teaching moment for a good reason or for a bad reason. It's a good teaching moment though.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, man. All right. Since we're nearing the end here, I'm going to ask you some closing questions. I'm going to do this in every show, and obviously, you know, you're going to be back, and I might have to switch these up for you.
Run it.
All right. So, what is something that you are working to add or subtract to your lifestyle and/or mindset? Something you currently do.
I'm working to add a sense of, and this is going to be an ongoing thing. I'm working to always have positivity, and I'm working to always be stoic because I don't want, it's big to me. I don't want to ever bring a child, or I don't want bring a child into this world. I don't want to have a wife and they look at me when something happens and I have panic on my face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna work out the problem, but I don't want them to ever see me in a point where it's like I don't know what I'm doing. And it's not because I want to be like some macho dude, but it's because I want them to always be safe. I want them to always feel safe. I want them to always have a state of bliss. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working to add positivity to my life, and I'm working to subtract fear. Because as I said, I go out, you know what I'm saying? I talk to people my introverted ways. I'm not going to lie. My brain definitely has it in my head where it's like, nah, don't talk to this person. No, they might just totally reject you, embarrass you. They might, you know what I'm saying? They might up the blick and just and shoot you. Like ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Like super ridiculous. If you just talk to them, man, the worst they could say is like, oh no, I'm good. I don't want to talk to you. That's the worst they could say.
Right.
But my brain will go to a place it don't even need to go out of fear. So I'm working to take fear away from my life for sure.
That's beautiful, man. That's strong right there. Next question. What is happiness to you and where does it come from?
Happiness is sleep because I love me some sleep. Now, happiness to me, yo, it's being able to be you 100%. Because as I said, that I had the best times when I'm by myself because that's me 100%. That's me doing those goofy, weird things. Yeah. That's me having a concert while I'm cooking something on the stove. That's me laying on a couch, you know what I'm saying, having TV in the background while I just scroll through my photos because I done seen them for the 500th time. Like, it's me being myself 100% and not letting anything get in the way of that. Where I find that in myself 100%. And the reason I say that is because a lot of the times these things can get diluted, or me finding that happiness can get diluted or blocked because I walk out to the world and I'll see some fine woman and I'll be like, damn, wish I had one of those. Well, I probably do, bro. But you know what I'm saying? I just need to appreciate what I have. Or I see some dude who's like swole and more. I'm like, damn, wish I was like that. Or a car that's like real good looking. I'm like, man, wish I had one of that. At the end of the day, does it really matter? Because when I go back to my house and I'm by myself, I don't care about none of those things.
Right.
I care about what I got, where I'm at, and how I'm spending my time.
Right. Sounds like it comes from loving yours and being present in the moment, appreciate and being present.
Whole facts. You wrapped it up nicely.
All right, man. So what is something that you know now that you would tell your younger self?
Hey, man, you're doing great. You're doing just fine. You're okay.
Yeah.
Like, don't rush it. Don't panic. You belong here, man.
Wow.
Like real shit. You belong here. It's okay. Yeah. You belong here. You're doing just fine.
No, that's. I think everybody needs to hear that, young or grown. Is you belong here, you matter, and somebody loves you. You know what I mean?
Like, for real.
Not everybody hears those things.
That has been the toughest. Has been like one of the toughest things in my life. When you have people you don't understand, you think people just walk in and out your life because you're not good enough. You think things don't fall through because you're not smart enough, you're not strong enough, you weren't ambitious enough. Man, stop letting your mind run so crazy. You belong here. If you didn't belong here, you wouldn't be here. You belong here.
Wow, dude, I love that answer. Oh my God, I love that answer. That was beautiful. Man, we should just end the show right now. End it on that note. You belong here. End it. Oh man. All right. Who is a role model to you, and why are they?
Yo, again, shout out to the Lord. If you whatever you believe in, it's fine. The Lord, my Lord and Savior, the Most High. Yo, I cannot express enough from being hit by a car and surviving.
Wow.
From being like the doctors telling my mother I should not have been here. Like just everything in my life where I thought it was the end.
Yeah.
And I'm here. I got the job. I shouldn't even had this job. Like when I was in ROTC and they were like, yo, this is it for you. And it wasn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank the Lord, the Most High, for continuing to give me the strength to push forward. When I thought it was over, it wasn't over. It wasn't done. Thank my father, the biggest role model, the OG in my life. You know what I'm saying? That's what I have always aspired to be as a man. That man has put everything on his back. I don't watch him go to the coal mine early in the morning, come home late at night when I was mad because he wouldn't play with me because he was tired. It's because he was working all day. That boy done took care of his sisters, his mother, my brothers. Boy took care of all of us. And that's what I aspire to be like. Shout out to my mother because she would go to bat for me any day. We had our disagreements, but she would go to bat for me any day. And most importantly, finally, shout out to my brethren, my brother Phil, because without him, I don't know how. Yeah. I really don't know how I would have been like anywhere. Because that's the dude I call on when I'm having like regular life problems. That's my ace, dog. Like, that's really my ace. Like, if there was anybody I would do anything for. Like, he called me one point in time in his life. He said, I need a place to stay. I said, don't worry about it. I'll buy you the ticket. Come here. Stay as long as you want to. I'll set you up. Like, that's my ace. Like, these people really mean a lot to me. And it's not just these. And I'm saying these people are my role models, but I want people to understand that, like, anybody who says they down for me, I'm down for you. Like, if you need something, you got it from me. Yeah. Because if you're good to me, I'm good to good people. Yeah. You got to take care of people who are good to good people. Right. You know what I mean?
100%. You got to. And like I said, like, it all comes back to you, right? The universe has its way of paying you back. You know what I mean?
For sure.
That's a beautiful thing, man. No, that was great. Shout out to the family for sure, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Final question. How do you plan on impacting the world?
Honestly, like I'm doing now. And I say like I'm doing now, not because of the podcast, because, again, thank you so much for having me here.
Dude, I love that you're here. Like, thank you for coming.
I appreciate that. I have soldiers, man, and I try to, and they may think I'm harsh, but I love them kids to death. I have soldiers. I try to get them to college. I try to preach college to them. Preach it. I try to get them to take care of their own stuff. I make sure I have an open door that whenever they need somebody to talk to, they have somebody to talk to. Because, again, like, not every day is golden. You know what I mean?
Oh, facts.
And that's one big thing about me is I'll never let them see me in a bad mood. Or they may see me angry, but then they never see me sad, because I need them to always understand that no matter what I got going on, you come first. And I mean, and I think people need to understand. I think people need to like move forward to that. Like those kids come first.
Yeah.
So how I impact the world is I need people to understand. I need people that's around me to understand that you're gonna get taken care of. You know what I mean? Because we gotta take care of each other.
Right.
We definitely have to take care of each other. Whether you're my soldier, whether you're just a bystander. You know what I mean? The level of which I'm gonna take care of you gonna look different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mind you, if you ask me for $100, I'll buy you the food instead, you know what I mean? But I have done that. Like people, like there's a man in Walmart one time, he was selling something. I said, look, man, I don't want nothing what you got, and I ain't got no money on me, but are you hungry?
Yeah.
Did you eat? You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying? Oftentimes people be like, you know what I'm saying, you gotta be careful with that. I'm like, well, that's not up to me, man. That's up to God. God know his heart. If he really out here bamboozling folk, he'll get dealt with on his own time. But for now, you know what I mean? It spoke to me to do something for this man.
How can I be of service?
Yeah, and I had nothing. I had no money to give him, but I could do something. You know what I mean? So how I plan to change the world is continue doing what I got to do, continue to learn, and then teach.
Facts. No, I love that answer, man. Yeah, you gave me answers that are just like beyond like with me having no expectations. Those answers were like amazing. You know what I mean? And I appreciate having you on the show. I appreciate this conversation. And obviously, I know I want you to come back. And yeah, man, like this was great, man. This was great. This was beautiful. And yeah, gosh, I don't know. I'm lost for words after all of that, man.
Nah, man, like again, appreciate you having me. Shout out to you for the venue, for the vibe, for the show. Thank you for what you do and what you continue to do for the public.
Oh, thanks.
For real.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I guess my biggest thing with this is to teach, inform, and raise awareness of mental health, but men's mental health is the biggest platform. But also letting people know that you are not alone. You know what I mean? And that goes back to what you said earlier when you said you are meant to be here. Because so many people go through these things and go unheard and go not telling their stories, and I want to capture that and bring people on that's insightful, that's been through things, and we've all been through things, but don't mind sharing and being more vulnerable and talking about those things and letting people know I've been through this, I overcame, I'm still going through this, and I'm still struggling, and yet I'm still fighting. And you can too. That's the most important thing, is that you are not alone. I've done it. There's nothing that makes me more special or different than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I can do it, what's stopping you?
At a minimum, talk about it with somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you may find that is the most powerful thing. Like talking about it with somebody, you may come up with the answer yourself. You may just let off the load. And I know a lot of men don't like to hear it, but dog, like when shit get heavy, sometimes you gotta let that tear go. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you gotta let the tear go, and that's
showing emotion.
That's human. Like that's very human. Yep. A lot of instances of a lot of soldiers when came into my office, men and women, who have just been like, just cry. Like to sit here, cry. I can leave. I can stay. If you need somebody to talk to, just cry. Yeah, it's okay, man. Like it really is okay. That shit is the most powerful to me. Taking care of those people like that. It's like it's really okay. Yep. When they go through their emotions, and then we talk about it, and then it's like it's not so bad no more. Right. You know what I mean? Last thing I remember in Korea, we had a lieutenant colonel, and he was telling us about suicide. And the one thing that stuck out to me the most about how you can really impact somebody's life is that a lot of people who choose suicide, they feel like the thing that's behind them is way worse than what's in front of them. Like imagine they're about to commit suicide. They're about it's the building's on fire and they're about to jump out. Jumping out of that 10-story building is much easier than going through the fire.
Right.
But sometimes it just takes a change of perspective. Just taking them by the hand, change perspective, and be like, hey man, listen, I know it feel like you by yourself. I know you feel like you're going through all this, da 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 da. Let's stop for a minute. You know what I mean, stop for a minute. Let's walk through a little bit of it together, so you know you can do it. Mm-hmm. And look at you. You feel look at you.
Just like riding a bike.
Like somebody newborn. Yeah. Like somebody just learned how to ride a bike. You figured out you could do it by yourself. Look at you.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man.
That shit is very important for a lot of people, man.
Yeah, man. I agree 100%. Again, man, thank you for coming on the show, man.
I appreciate you, dog.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up. Is there anything else that you want to say, man?
Get money, stay safe.
Hey, look, we all trying to do that.
Yes, sir.
Well, look, hey, thank you again for coming on the show. Thank you all for listening. I'm always gonna say this, but I love my guests, and I love you guys who are listening. I love everyone who is and isn't listening. And most importantly, take care of yourself and take care of others.
Yeah.
And this is Uncomfortable Conversations. Again, this is your host, JaCorei and JaCorei Smith. Thank you, guys.